let's generate our first process diagram. But before we do that, let's actually look at our color coding. I did some extra work in marking some of the activities with different colors. Now let's actually build the first diagram. Next, let's detail the approved job sub-process. By the way, you'll notice we'll use an XOR gateway, an exclusive gateway. And when we're done detailing it, we're going to collapse all that information so we can stay at the high level. Let's also detail the publish job positions activity into a sub-process. In this case, we're going to use an parallel gateway or an AND gateway to show that posting internally and externally can be done in parallel. Now let's assign roles and participants to the activities. We can do it in two different ways. We can do a drag and drop, dragging the activity into a swim lane or into a lane, as we call it in BPMN, or opening the activity metadata, the attributes, and indicating who the participant is in one of those attributes. Both ways are equivalent. Let's detail the conduct interviews activity. We'll create a sub-process. Within that process, obviously, we're going to have some decisions we have to make, whether we like or don't like those candidates. We'll capture that using the XOR gateway. Also, we want to be very careful with how we label the different elements. In this particular case, the end events indicating whether the candidate was selected or the candidate was rejected. Of course, when we're done with all that, we're going to collapse the sub-process. So again, we hide all that information in the high level. Next, let's add more activities, more details in the offer stage. And we'll obviously use some gateways there too. Now, obviously, the onboarding is a bit more complex. It's not all happening in sequence, so we probably want to change the order. And some things can be done in parallel, and some things have to be done in sequence. And we'll have to capture that using the activities, the sequence flow, and the different gateways for exclusive behavior, and parallel gateways for things that can be done in parallel. Now, if you remember, the background check gave us all kind of issues, so we want to make sure we have captured all those problems in that for that activity. Now that we're thinking about alternative and other kind of exception scenarios, we probably want to go back and refine some of the earlier activities and add more details for these alternate and exception scenarios. For instance, we'll detail the screen applications into a sub-process. Obviously, there are some decisions there. And then detail the check references as well, because depending on the outcomes of those check references activity, we will make again some decisions. as you can notice, there's a lot of time being spent in cosmetic changes. Well, BlueWorks Live is no exception. Similar to other tools, probably you're going to spend quite a lot of time trying to align things, move things around so it looks a little bit better. BlueWorks Live tends to be a little bit harder because it always wants to keep a valid process. It doesn't give us as much flexibility as, for example, Visio does in terms of making the pictures pretty. The main concern with BlueWorks Live is to make sure you have a valid process, not a pretty process, which may be different in Visio.